They don't speak first, yet everyone falls silent when they enter. Because real power never announces itself, it changes the air without saying a word. It starts the moment you walk in, before you say a single word, before you make a single move. The air changes, though no one can explain why. People pause without realizing it. They glance up, some out of curiosity, others out of instinct. You haven't spoken, you haven't demanded attention, but somehow you already have it. This is the quiet shockwave of presence, the kind that doesn't come from force but from control. Most people believe presence is about being noticed, about making an entrance, about taking up space. But the truth is it's the opposite. Real presence is about stillness. It's about the person who doesn't rush to prove themselves, who doesn't scatter their energy trying to be seen. They are seen because they don't need to be. Calm people dominate rooms, not because they try to, but because they don't. They move differently. They breathe slower. They don't chase reactions. Their stillness pulls focus the way gravity pulls planets. Others feel it before they understand it. Something about that composure forces everyone else to adjust, to slow down, to match the rhythm of someone who clearly isn't seeking approval. This is the power of emotional control. The calm person isn't competing for space. They are setting the tone of it. When you walk in calm, you communicate that you already belong. Nervous people overcompensate. Loud people overperform. Insecure people overexplain. But the one who stands still, relaxed, observant, already looks like they own the room. Confidence isn't about noise, it's about neutrality. It's the ability to hold your ground without needing to prove why you deserve to. You don't fight for attention. You attract it. You don't push the energy, you absorb it. People sense that difference immediately. It's not arrogance, it's certainty. Calm energy unsettles the anxious because it reflects what they lack. When someone speaks quickly or laughs too loud, it's usually because they're trying to manage tension. The calm person doesn't play that game. They carry no rush, no desperation. Their focus says, I'm not here to perform. I'm here because I chose to be. And that quiet assurance is magnetic. It makes people curious. They start wondering what gives you that peace, what you know that they don't, what kind of strength lets you stay so composed when everyone else is trying so hard. Presence isn't born from what you show, but from what you withhold. Every time you hold a pause, every time you wait before replying, every time you refuse to fill silence just to be comfortable, you build invisible authority. You stop chasing the room, and the room starts chasing you. People lean in when you speak, because they've already learned you don't waste words. They respect your calm because it reminds them of how rarely they feel it themselves. And the truth is, power always flows to the one who needs the least. So when you walk in next time, don't rush, don't speak first, don't explain, just stand, breathe, and let the silence work for you. Because calm doesn't enter the room, it becomes the room. Every room has a rhythm, a heartbeat that runs beneath the surface. You can feel it the moment you enter, in the tone of voices, the pace of conversations, the tension in the air. Some rooms pulse fast, full of nervous energy and competing egos. Others hum with quiet unease, waiting for someone to take control. Most people walk in and instantly sink to whatever rhythm they find. They match the noise, the speed, the anxiety. But the people who truly dominate a space never match it. They slow it. They walk in, take one look around, and without saying much, they change the beat of the room. Their calm presence becomes the new tempo everyone else adjusts to. Tempo is the invisible law of human interaction. Whoever controls it, controls perception. If you rush, you seem nervous. If you pause, you seem confident. The one who hurries to explain, to please, to fill silence, is always perceived as lower in power. The one who moves slow, speaks slow, and reacts slow sends a quiet message of authority. Calm is not passivity, it is rhythm control. It tells the world that you are not moved by its chaos. You decide when to speak, when to act, when to respond. And the more you control your tempo, the more you control how others behave around you. Think about what happens in a meeting when someone stays silent a moment too long before answering. Everyone leans in. The silence makes them wait. The calmness draws their focus. It shifts power instantly. The one who can hold a pause owns the moment. The same thing happens in conversation. The anxious person rushes to fill every gap, because silence feels like danger. The calm person treats silence as an ally. They let it breathe. They make others wonder what they're thinking, and that wonder creates gravity. Tempo also shows emotional hierarchy. People who feel uncertain mirror others to seek acceptance. They match energy, tone, and pace. But when you slow down the rhythm, you signal that you don't need anyone's permission to exist comfortably in the moment. You make the environment bend to your calm, rather than bending yourself to its chaos. This is why calm people dominate rooms without trying. They don't control others through force, they control them through frequency. The secret is to become aware of the rhythm before you react to it. Notice how fast people speak, how tense they move, how quickly they interrupt each other. Then choose not to join that pace. Take your time. Let pauses stretch a little longer. Let your breathing stay slow and your words deliberate. Soon the entire room starts following your lead without realizing it. This is the hidden law of tempo. It's not about speaking less or doing less. It's about mastering the rhythm underneath everything. When you move slower than the noise, you rise above it. When you stay calm while others rush, you become the standard. People will start to feel your pace, not theirs. And in that quiet shift, you've already won. Presence begins when you stop leaking energy. Most people don't realize how much of themselves they give away without meaning to. They fidget, they smile, they explain too much. They rush to fill silences just to feel safe. Every unnecessary movement, every nervous laugh, every overreaction is a small piece of energy escaping into the room. And the more energy you leak, the less control you have. People feel it even if they can't explain it. They sense the difference between someone who is centered and someone who is scattered. The one who is centered doesn't chase attention. They don't try to manage how they're being seen. They simply are. And that stillness makes everyone else slow down to match it. Self-containment is not about being cold or distant. It's about being complete. It's the quiet strength that comes from not needing to prove, not needing to perform, not needing to adjust yourself to make others comfortable. When you are self-contained, you become your own energy source. You're not fed by approval or drained by rejection. You're steady. And that steadiness is magnetic because most people don't have it. They are constantly reacting to others, constantly giving away power through small expressions of need. But the calm person moves differently. Every gesture has purpose, every glance has weight, every silence carries meaning. They don't spill emotion everywhere, they hold it, and that restraint creates mystery. People project power onto what they can't read. The more still you are, the more others have to interpret you. They start filling the blanks with their own assumptions. Some think you're confident, others think you're dangerous, others think you're deep. But the truth is, you don't have to be any of those things. You just have to be still enough to let them believe what they want. Presence is not about trying to shape perception. It's about creating space for perception to form on its own. When you give people silence, they fill it with stories. And those stories almost always exaggerate your strength. Self-containment also changes how your energy feels. When you're calm, your movements are slower, your eyes more focused, your voice smoother. You seem composed even when you say little. People trust that kind of energy because it feels grounded. They don't know why, but they start looking to you for cues. They mirror your tone, your pace, your posture. This is how silent influence works. You don't have to tell people what to do. You just have to hold yourself in a way that makes them adjust to you. To build this aura, you have to practice restraint. Stop explaining your feelings to everyone. Stop giving instant reactions. Let moments breathe. Let people wonder what you think. The power of presence isn't about adding more. It's about removing the noise. The less you do, the more every move matters. The calm person doesn't chase connection. They attract it by being whole. Because when your energy no longer leaks, the world feels your presence even in silence. And that is true power. People are drawn to whoever makes them feel stable. It is not charm or beauty or loud confidence that pulls people in. It is steadiness. In a world full of noise, the calm person becomes a form of safety. When everyone else is reacting, guessing, and reaching for balance, the one who stays grounded becomes emotional gravity itself. Others may not understand it, but they feel it. They find themselves relaxing around you, speaking slower, breathing easier. Chaos always looks for an anchor, and if you learn to become that anchor, you will never need to chase attention again. It will come to you naturally. Emotional gravity begins with emotional discipline. When you are not shaken by insult, praise, or uncertainty, you show that you are not dependent on outside forces to stay centered. People notice this even in silence. They test you, sometimes without realizing it, by throwing small challenges your way. They interrupt you, they question you, they compliment you just to see how you'll react. Most people reveal too much too soon. They flinch at criticism, they light up at praise, they lose balance when things change. The calm person doesn't. They receive everything with the same even tone. A nod, a small smile, no shift in energy. That quiet consistency makes people trust you more, even admire you. The reason calm energy is so powerful is because it regulates others. When someone is angry or nervous, their body looks for cues of safety. If you stay steady, they start to match your tone. Their breathing slows, their words soften, their thinking clears. You've changed their emotional state without saying much at all. That's emotional gravity. It's not manipulation, it's mastery of your own internal world to influence the external one. The one who remains unmoved becomes the one others move around. In business, in relationships, in leadership, this ability separates those who command from those who follow. You can see it in how people react during tension. Some talk faster, raise their voice, try to fix everything immediately. Others slow down, think clearly, and let the storm pass through them. The calm one ends up in control, not because they forced control, but because everyone else surrendered it. In uncertain moments, people will always look toward whoever appears certain, and the calm person never needs to say they are. They show it through silence, through stillness, through the absence of panic. To build emotional gravity, practice holding your peace when you're triggered. Don't rush to prove, to explain, to correct. Feel the pull to react and choose not to. Observe instead. Every time you stay composed, you strengthen that invisible field around you. Over time, you'll notice something strange. People start telling you their problems, seeking your advice, mirroring your calm. They orbit closer because they feel safer in your presence. That's the quiet reward of being unshaken. You don't have to demand influence, it begins to form around you. The world bends toward calmness because calmness feels like strength. And when you become that strength, people will follow your gravity without ever knowing why. Calmness has a strange effect on people. It does not just steady a room, it exposes it. When you walk in calm, you hold up an invisible mirror to everyone around you. They start to see themselves through your stillness, and what they see often unsettles them. Your silence makes their noise louder. Your slow breathing makes their fidgeting obvious. Your collected energy highlights their lack of it. Most people are not used to this kind of reflection, so they begin to adjust. They soften their voice, slow their words, even change their posture without realizing it. Human beings subconsciously seek balance, and when they stand in front of someone grounded, they instinctively want to match that frequency. This is why calm people often appear as leaders, even when they say little. Presence has nothing to do with titles or authority. It has everything to do with energy. Whoever sets the emotional tone sets the hierarchy. When you remain still while others react, you become the emotional reference point in the room. People look to you to know how serious a problem is, how worried they should be, how far they can push. Your calm becomes their guide. They may not admit it, but their bodies listen before their minds do. If you stay composed, they follow your lead. If you panic, they collapse with you. Your calmness doesn't just control others, it teaches them about themselves. Watch what happens when someone loses patience in front of you while you remain quiet. They start to feel embarrassed. They sense the difference between your energy and theirs, and that awareness changes them. The mirror effect is not about power through intimidation, it is power through contrast. When you reflect someone's chaos back at them with stillness, they begin to correct themselves. They want to meet you where you are, because deep down, everyone wants to feel steady. But there's another layer. When you're calm, people project meaning onto you. They assume you know something they don't. They wonder why you're not reacting, what you might be thinking, whether they've misjudged you. That mystery increases your presence without effort. You become someone others study instead of challenge. They hesitate to interrupt. They measure their words more carefully. They try to stay in control so they won't look unstable next to you. Without lifting a finger, you've shifted the power dynamic. To build this kind of calm, you must train your reactions. Learn to pause before responding. Let emotions settle before you speak. Hold your posture steady even when tension rises. The goal is not to suppress feelings, but to master them so fully that they don't leak out through your body. Over time, your stillness becomes automatic, and people begin to sense it the moment they meet you. They will either rise to your level or reveal their imbalance. Either way, you stay in control. The mirror effect doesn't just reveal others, it protects you, because when you own your calm, you own the room. And whoever owns the room owns the rhythm of respect that follows. Silence is not empty. It is one of the most powerful tools a person can use. Most people are afraid of it. They rush to fill every quiet moment with words, laughter, or noise because silence feels like exposure. It forces them to face their own uncertainty, but the calm person treats silence differently. They don't fill it, they own it. When others scramble to talk, to justify, to prove themselves, the calm person waits. They let the pause stretch a little longer than what feels comfortable, and in that moment something subtle happens. The power shifts. The one who can stay silent without fear becomes the one in control. Silence is command, because it demands attention without asking for it. When you speak, people listen to your words, but when you stay silent, they listen to your presence. They study your expression, your breathing, your posture. They start wondering what you're thinking. They project meaning onto you because the human mind cannot tolerate a vacuum. It has to fill the silence with assumptions, and those assumptions almost always elevate the one who seems unbothered. People assume calm equals confidence, and that belief alone gives you quiet authority. In conversations, the person who controls the pace controls the frame. When you respond instantly, you show that the other person's rhythm dictates yours. But when you pause, when you take a breath before you speak, you send a different signal. You're not reacting, you're choosing. That small delay tells everyone that you're not under pressure to prove yourself. It creates tension, but the kind that bends toward you. People lean in, waiting for what you'll say, measuring their own tone against yours. This is why great leaders, negotiators, and thinkers understand silence as strategy. It's not hesitation. It's dominance disguised as patience. When others fill silence to seek approval, they reveal insecurity. They need noise to feel seen. They talk to control the room, but the more they talk, the less power they have. The calm person sits still, unhurried, detached. Their quiet makes others self-conscious. They start to question whether they've said too much, whether they've crossed a line, whether they're being judged. The truth is, they are judging themselves. Your silence has turned their confidence into uncertainty, and that is the real secret of influence. You don't win by overpowering others. You win by letting them overpower themselves. Owning silence requires self-trust. You have to believe that you don't need to explain, that you don't owe reactions, that your presence is enough. Practice waiting an extra second before replying. Practice ending a sentence and letting it hang in the air. Practice breathing deeply instead of rushing to fill the gap. Over time, your stillness becomes unmistakable. People start to pause when you do. They match your tone without realizing it. You've made silence your throne. You rule not through noise or force, but through calm that makes others adjust. True power doesn't raise its voice. It waits, and the world leans closer to hear it. You can't project presence if you're desperate to belong. The moment you start chasing approval, you hand away your power. People can feel when you need their validation. It shows in your tone, your eyes, your timing. You speak faster. Laugh when you don't mean it. Agree when you shouldn't, all in the hope of being liked. But the more you chase belonging, the less you belong anywhere. Real composure comes from indifference to outcome. You stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, do I even care if they don't? That quiet shift changes everything about how you carry yourself. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop depending on them to confirm your worth. When you release the need to control how others see you, you become lighter, calmer, harder to shake. You don't flinch when misunderstood. You don't rush to fix impressions. You don't bend yourself to keep peace. You observe, you calculate, you decide when to act. And because you no longer move from insecurity, every move you make carries weight. The calm person isn't trying to win the room, they are reading it. They are watching patterns, energy, emotion. They act when the moment is right and not before. Attachment makes you predictable. It makes you easy to manipulate. When people sense you crave attention, they can give or withhold it to control you. But when you're detached, you remove their leverage. You're not swayed by flattery, not rattled by silence, not pulled by approval. You stay steady no matter what happens around you. That steadiness becomes your shield. People respect it even if they don't understand it, because most have never felt it themselves. True detachment feels like peace. It is the quiet inside you when someone tests you, and you no longer need to prove anything. It's when rejection doesn't sting because you know you didn't lose value, you just saw truth. It is when success doesn't make you arrogant because you done to need to brag. You can enjoy what happens without clinging to it. The detached person sees clearly because they're not blinded by desire or fear. They see people's motives, the tone behind words, the games behind gestures, and they don't react, they respond with purpose, not emotion. The advantage of detachment is that it makes your presence unbreakable. You're no longer moved by the highs and lows that control most people. You don't depend on the room's approval to feel powerful. You bring your own stability wherever you go. When you walk in calm, people feel it, and they adjust around you. They can't throw you off balance because your balance comes from within. This is why the calm person always seems a step ahead. While everyone else is trying to win, they are simply watching. They wait, they listen, they calculate, and when they finally move, the move lands with precision. Detachment isn't apathy, it's mastery of focus. It's the quiet strength that turns reaction into choice and makes composure look effortless. Presence is not only about what you say, it's about what you do when you say nothing. People reveal their entire mindset through small movements, and most never notice. The way they shift in their seat, the way their eyes dart, the way their hands fidget or reach for a phone, all of it speaks before words do. Calm people understand this. They move with purpose, not impulse. Every gesture is deliberate, every glance is controlled. They waste nothing. When they turn their head, it's slow and unhurried. When they look at you, their gaze doesn't dart or search for approval. It holds. That steadiness makes people feel something they can't name. It's a quiet authority, born not from effort, but from absence of noise. Minimal motion is the language of composure. It tells the world that you are comfortable where you are. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to rush to prove you belong. You're at ease with silence and stillness, and that alone makes people pay attention. In psychology, we read movement before we read meaning. When someone moves too quickly or too much, our mind registers anxiety. When someone is still, we assume control. The calm reveal nothing, and that nothingness becomes their power. People can't read what isn't exposed, so they start guessing. They project confidence, mystery, strength onto the one who moves least. Every small motion communicates something. A slight lean forward can show interest without eagerness. A pause before speaking can show confidence without arrogance. The calm person knows how to use space and timing. They don't invade, they invite. They don't mirror others to fit in, they make others adjust. Their gestures are subtle, but they draw focus precisely because they're rare. The human eye is trained to notice movement, so when someone hardly moves at all, the brain locks in. That's why minimal motion commands so much attention. It's not loud, but it's magnetic. The secret is awareness. Pay attention to how you move when you feel nervous. Notice the tapping fingers, the bouncing leg, the quick nods, the half smiles that don't match your eyes. These habits leak energy. They show others that you are unsure even when you're not. Start slowing everything down. When you walk, walk a little slower. When you reach for something, do it with intention. When you speak, let your face stay calm and your eyes stay steady. Over time, your movements become smoother, more precise, more confident. Presence is not built in grand gestures. It's built in micro moments. The pause before you respond, the stillness in your shoulders, the unbroken eye contact that says you're fully there. The calm person doesn't move to fill space. They move to shape it. Each gesture is a sentence, each silence, a statement. In power psychology, stillness is status. The less you reveal, the more others imagine. and what they imagine is almost always greater than what you could ever say. That's why presence belongs to the calm. They speak a language without words, and everyone understands it. Eventually, calmness becomes something more than composure. It becomes aura. You can't name it, you can't explain it, but you can feel it when someone has it. They walk into a room and everything shifts, though they say almost nothing. Their presence changes the temperature of the space. People lower their voices without realizing it. Eyes follow them, not because they're trying to impress anyone, but because something about their stillness feels complete. It is a kind of quiet authority, the kind that doesn't ask for respect, yet always receives it. When you reach this level of calm, you stop trying to prove anything. You stop competing for attention. You don't need to be louder or faster or more visible, because you already know who you are. The unspoken crown isn't worn on your head, it's carried in your energy. It's the silent signal that says, "I'm in control here," without a word being spoken. And this control doesn't come from dominance, it comes from self-mastery. You don't control others by force, you control the atmosphere by your steadiness. When people can't shake your balance, they start to trust it. When they can't read your emotions, they start to respect them. You become the calm point in a world full of noise, the one people look toward when they don't know how to act. That's what true presence is, not about being noticed, but about being undeniable. The calm person doesn't need validation because their power is internal. They don't enter a room trying to stand out. They simply enter with awareness, with patience, with quiet focus. They move slowly, they listen more than they speak. They pause before reacting, and in doing so, they remind others how rare it is to feel composed. People sense that difference and instinctively adjust to it. They speak more carefully, they think before they interrupt. They show more respect without knowing why. Calm energy trains the environment to behave. To carry this aura, you have to stop chasing moments of recognition. You have to stop explaining your worth to people who don't see it. The moment you stop chasing, your energy sharpens. You become centered, solid, untouchable. The crowd may be loud, but you don't join the noise. You listen, observe, and wait. And when you finally speak, the room listens because you've taught it that you don't waste words. The less you say, the more each word means. The less you move, the more every movement matters. That's the paradox of real power. In the end, calmness is not weakness, it's weaponry. It makes others reveal themselves while you remain unreadable. It allows you to influence without effort, to command without trying, to lead without demanding. You don't dominate by fighting for space. You dominate by existing in control. When your calm becomes aura, people will feel your authority before you speak. They won't know why they respect you, they just will. That is the unspoken crown, the quiet power that needs no defense, no validation, and no introduction. It simply reigns. Maybe this video helped you see yourself or someone you know in a different way. Feel free to let us know via a like or in the comments. And if you want more wisdom and guidance in becoming a better version of yourself, subscribe now. This is the moment to start becoming the person you really want to be.